Good morning, beautiful. Hi, I'm Jordan James, and this is Good Deeds Buffalo. I want to thank the WarPaint Project for sponsoring this episode and allowing me the opportunity to take the time to give back and highlight the good deeds of the City of Good Neighbors that often go unnoticed. On Good Deeds Buffalo, the Buffalo West New York community will nominate someone for their good deed. This person would be involved in the community and oftentimes our beacon of hope and kindness. At random, I will select someone to showcase and thank. Enjoy this show. On the last episode of Good Deeds Buffalo, I sat down with Sharon Dana. Sharon, for the past several years, has dedicated her time and energy to community gardens throughout the city of Buffalo. One of these gardens is located on Avenida San Juan in the Hispanic Heritage District on the corner of Niagara and Virginia Street. It's the Keep the Momentum Going garden. Every spring and summer, Sharon beautifies the flower beds and landscape with the support of New York State DOT and Home Depot. In 2021, Sharon affirmed that this garden would be a part of the Buffalo Garden Walk, and she did even better. She beautified 4 community gardens that made it into this year's Buffalo Garden Walk. To learn more about Sharon Dana and watch her interview online, head over to gooddeedsbuffalo.tv. Now, in this episode of Good Deeds Buffalo, I will sit down with Maiya Colon as I learn about her struggles as a mother of Maiya, who was born prematurely, turned into a wonderful family as she adopted Michael, who was also born with similar challenges. Meet Maiya right after this message. Joining me now in studio is Maiya Colon. Maiya, thank you for coming on the show and making the trip to come and see me.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It was definitely worth the drive from Rochester.
You are so welcome. Now, what was your first thought when Maiya was born?
You know what's interesting is first-time parent, Maiya was my first, and I didn't really have great thoughts. She arrived a little bit early, and I was a mixture of terrified and excited that I had this beautiful little girl enter the world. And it wasn't until a few days later that things started to really set in and get a little more frightening as some of her challenges started to emerge.
Understood, yeah. So as days went on, that's when you realized what the situation was really?
To some degree. Early on, Maiya was a preemie, so she was a little tiny at birth, and she had some preemie complications, required a few surgeries, was able to come home from the NICU after 11 weeks, so that was a big blessing, just in time for Thanksgiving.
Absolutely, oh wow. So just in time for Thanksgiving to have some time with the family.
Yes, just in time for everyone to get to be thankful, not just for her, but that she was home. And then as she started to get older, we noticed a few developing idiosyncrasies.
Okay.
So it wasn't until she was closer to 9-10 months that we really realized something might not be right.
Right. So what is Maiya's condition then?
Well, so that is an interesting question. Maiya has a genetic mutation that is actually very rare. We call her a unicorn because she's actually the only person with that particular expression of the genetic mutation. And it falls under the category of something called Aubright's hereditary osteodystrophy, which is a lot of words to create a lot of classifications, which sometimes don't make a lot of sense, even to me as her mom. But she does have some continued chronic challenges from that.
Okay. Now, what made you think about adopting Michael with what was going on with Maiya?
So my husband and I met Michael with our daughter Maiya, and actually they were the first to connect, Maiya and Michael. They would play with each other. They had correlating hospital stays from time to time. And initially we had just decided to become foster parents. There's a high population of children, particularly with medical needs, that just need a temporary foster home until maybe their birth families or biological families are able to care for them. And then it became months later that we were approached and asked if we would be lucky enough to have Michael become part of our family. And for my husband and I, he was part of our family from the moment we met him.
That is just so wonderful. I mean, you've seen a need to take care of somebody, Michael, and even more so than Michael, you knew that there was a need and you went to take care of it, and that is just so wonderful. And I admire you for stepping outside, you know, what you were challenged with as a mother of Maiya, and then again taking on Michael. So what is Michael's condition?
Michael has something called short gut syndrome, post-secondary to a condition called gastroschisis. So very easy, his inside organs were outside of his body when he was born, and he lost part of his intestines, so he has a hard time absorbing nutrients and getting full feed, calories and things, so his growth is a little delayed. A long-term problem, he currently is dependent on enteral feed, so G-tube feedings, with some in and out medical needs that are a little more higher level care.
Understood. Okay. So that was actually interesting going on to my next kind of question. Will Maiya and Michael need like long-term care?
They will. So, you know, it's actually probably, I'm sure our physicians would even say that they would love to tell me exactly what they will need, exactly how long, exactly when. That is the one blessing of being their mom and the one curse. I've learned that I don't get to know that. Yeah. But it has given me a chance to try to figure out how to be okay with that. But they are chronic, long-term, lifelong illnesses and challenges.
And you're ready for that?
I am.
Wonderful. That is just wonderful. So how old are Maiya and Michael?
Currently, they are what we call Big 8 and Little 8 for the next week.
I love it.
Maiya turns 9 next Tuesday.
Oh, happy early birthday, Maiya.
So they are very close in age. They're about 8 months apart.
Oh, wonderful. That is, so they're so close in age, they can kind of, you know, share that time together. You know, with me and my brothers, we're all 2 years apart, so we're able to kind of still be close in age, and that is so nice.
It's great. They used to, tell everyone they were twins, and then they figured out that they weren't. Then they figured out they weren't twins. But they definitely have a unique bond. I have siblings. I'm incredibly close to my siblings, and I think their bond even rivals ours.
Wow. Now, what challenges did you face at first?
Initially, I think the biggest thing was the shock. When Maiya was born, she showed up quite early. My husband and I were lucky enough that we had a lot of support from family, from friends, employers at the time, and it was just that adjustment. I think as we've gone through things, there have been different challenges at different times. We've had some financial concerns. We've had those moments of, I don't know that I can do another day of this.
Right. Because it does become challenging.
It does.
And so that makes sense. You know, so you try to, I'm assuming, really just try to take a positive stance as much as you can.
I did for the longest time, actually, and I realized that was one of the most exhausting things. It can be very isolating to have a child with medical needs, let alone two, and you know, pretending that everything is always wonderful and always okay. I really isolated myself that way, and it wasn't until I was able to open up outside of that and say, well, I need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's where I've made a lot of great connections in the community with a number of other families, even outside of Western New York.
Yeah. Now, what challenges do you face currently?
Well, a lot of it is getting dinner on the table at the right time. That can be a bit problematic. Yeah. I think our biggest challenge right now is scheduling, and from the trying to make doctor's appointments, but at the same time have a balance where my children are children. Yeah. And just letting them be that. And occasionally I'm a little overprotective about what you're allowed to do on the trampoline, but just giving that balance and letting them have a chance to just be kids. And I struggle with that a lot sometimes.
It has to be hard because you want to keep them as safe as possible, but you really want them to enjoy being kids, and that is wonderful. So you were nominated by the WarPaint project. Tell me how you met Aubre from the WarPaint project. I
actually met Aubre on happenstance. She had popped up in a social media something, I believe it might have been Facebook, of do you know a warrior in your life? Do you have a warrior in your life? Would you want to nominate them for a painting? And I sent her an email and I was like, I have two. Would you be potentially able to do a painting for each of them? And she did, and she made them each their own. Maiya's is a unicorn fighting a dragon. Oh, wow. And we call her Princess Maiya the Mighty. And then Michael's is actually a knight in shining armor with Maiya's unicorn on his shield for our Prince Michael the Brave.
That is just such a wonderful work. I mean, Aubre and Joe take so much time and passion into crafting those paintings for everybody. And so how did that feel to get that gift from them?
They hang in the playroom over their desks, their homework rooms, and it's a reminder every time I walk in. If I'm having a bad day, if they're having a bad day, and I just can't do one more misstep. And I happen to walk through with a vacuum cleaner and I see my warriors. I see them sitting there, and it really has inspired me to do more. I have talked to Aubre and Joe occasionally and helped do some of the inside the box things that go with some of those paintings for other children who may need things.
So now you're pitching in, and when you can, to also help other families who are going through similar challenges to you. And you know, it's such a wonderful thing that Aubre and Joseph were able to give you those gifts. So what is it like in a day of like waking up and living your everyday life? What is your schedule like?
It changes a little bit, particularly this summer, but for the most part, it is getting up early. My husband and I both try to fit in a little self-care in the morning, which doesn't always happen.
It's very important.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very important to try to do and balance some of that, but it's getting up, showers to unhook after unhooking feeds, refilling medications. Both of the kids have a number of medications that they take that are timed throughout the day. Just doing some of the basic, normal hygiene care. And then also the meal prepping is done a lot in our house ahead of time. During the school year, it's great. They go out the door.
And they get to go to school.
They get to go to school. And
someone else can make their lunch.
And my son has provided his care there. He has an RN that goes to school with him to make sure that he's safe. And it really is a typical day, and it's hard for me to explain because in our lives it is a typical day, but it's a lot when you start breaking it down. I think that's different for others.
I could imagine. And so, what was it like with Michael and Maiya being in the hospital for so long? You know, how was that challenge? What was it like?
The first time around with Maiya, it was a little easier. She was just our only Maiya. Michael's actually been hospitalized frequently and for very long durations, which is when things become a bit more difficult. His upward stay, he did 10 months in the Children's Hospital back home.
That is a long time.
And it's a lot of balance. My husband and I joke that we became ships in the night. One of us got up early. I would get up 4 o'clock in the morning to be to the Children's Hospital to hang out with my little guy before going to work, and then he would go up after work while I took care of our daughter so that he could hang out with our little guy and have dinner and put him to bed. So it was a lot of back and forth, shuttling and trying to figure out time schedules and things. It's hard. Yeah,
I could definitely imagine, but it as parents, though, it really shows your commitment to each other to take care of Maiya and Michael, no matter whatever the cost is, and that is so wonderful. What challenges or what, for the kids, is there any challenges with other kids maybe at school or anything like that? Or?
So I think there have been, in the past there have been some things. The kids are very tiny, so they're getting to the age where children are starting to notice differences. We have a pretty close-knit school community who've been very supportive. But there are things that have been different. Michael has required some occupational therapy, physical therapy in school, Maiya as well. There's changes to their environments for them to be able to maneuver them a little easier, or be able to reach the whiteboard or the smart board, whatever it's called these days.
Understood. So basically those day-to-day things do change a little bit, but Maiya and Michael, it seems that they have a bright outlook.
I think that just with us, they have a bright outlook. And I don't mean if we were the only ones looking at them. I think they have a bright outlook because
of what you do.
Because we have each other.
I would say, and from an outside view, you're their warrior. And it is wonderful. We'll be back to finish the conversation right after this message. Joining me now via Zoom is Aubre and Joseph Murphy in their art studio. Thank you so much for coming on the show and allowing me to highlight everything you both do. When I got your email, it's like, I have to meet you. I just have to. So what is the WarPaint project?
So the WarPaint project kind of just happened. For the last, 20 years of my life, I have personally enjoyed painting, drawing, and as the biggest pushover I know, I enjoy giving things away. Whether it be groceries, whether it be, money. I've lent money to people who never paid me back many, many times. And part of that gift giving concept of my life is also in Joe's life as well. He's always been the handyman that anybody needed. So
Absolutely.
The WarPaint project, February 5th, 2019, I received a phone call from my best friend of about 25 years, who said that earlier that morning her father was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And she had just buried an adopted sister just the year before. So this is her father. And so I really didn't know how to help her except for the way that I've always helped her, which was to create a painting for her. So what is the WarPaint project? Today, and how it's graduated since that time, there's 3 main parts to what we do. The most important part is that we share our warrior story. When you see a person on Facebook who is a child in a hospital bed, I think it's human nature to skip past it because it's very sad, it's very depressing, and it's very hard for people, especially if they've lost someone from cancer, to sit through and listen to how badly that child is suffering.
It's more easy to just keep scrolling and keep going. Absolutely, it's a lot easier to just keep
maybe
scrolling.
They'll stop and they'll type prayers, but that's just one moment in that person's entire story.
Absolutely.
So the WarPaint project, part of what we do is to tell the whole story, because we're going to be in our warriors' lives forever. Unlike many other nonprofits that might give a gift and it's nameless, it's just here's something. We form very deep, long-lasting relationships with every single person we create a painting for. Mainly their mother. If it's a child that we're painting for, we create a relationship with their mother or their family. So what's part of the WarPaint project that I think that people really love is that we start at the beginning and say, this is a person, this is, for example, this is Emily. Emily is a warrior of breast cancer. This is the story of her diagnosis. This is how she fought breast cancer. Here's her ups and downs over time. Here's the painting that we're going to do for her. Here's the people who nominated her and what they said about her being a warrior. Here's her opening her painting. Would anybody like to give her any gift? And so the WarPaint project, uniquely so, shares the entire warrior story of one person going through their entire diagnosis. And sometimes that means from treatment until the point that they pass away.
Now, I know that we had mentioned your art has attracted so many people, and I heard that you were able to actually get the help of, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to shout out one of your warriors. Now, could you tell me how you pulled that off and a little bit about Naomi?
Naomi is an 8-year-old girl in Ohio who is fighting terminal stage 4 brain cancer. And she attracted us to her page. She was shouting out different people in the WWE, WWF, like The Rock, you're a pebble, you're just a little stone, and she was, making fun of him. And then she would talk about a different wrestler. I nominated Naomi because I saw her playing a guitar, and she made up her own song, and I thought it was just so cool.
That is wonderful.
So I sent Naomi's father an invitation and said, let me paint something for her. And he responded with, we look at her like she's a unicorn superhero. So if you could do something like that. And I asked him about The Rock. She's always like, and he said, oh, she's such a huge fan. Actually, that's on her bucket list. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off that an 8-year-old has a bucket list. Nonetheless, on her bucket list, it said she wanted to have a princess party. She wanted to meet The Rock. She wanted to have her photo taken in front of the Hollywood sign. She wanted to meet a unicorn. And she wanted to experience a crush. And almost all of those things had happened except for Meet The Rock and the Hollywood sign.
What other celebrities have you been able to get in contact with to bring your warriors' dreams to reality?
what makes our project unique is that we show our warriors that because of their story, we can help them with the things that they want to experience. So how did we do it? How did we reach J.K. Rowling? How did we reach Chris Sayegh, the herbal chef, and Kim Joy, the British chef? We did so by sharing our warrior story and having them understand that our warriors chose them. And
Absolutely.
that it's their obligation as a celebrity to choose them back.
Do you do what you do with your friends and family? I know you mentioned with Joe, but do your friends and family get involved as well?
Anybody who wants to join in our gift and sit down at a table, use their two hands, and create something that we can then pass along to our warriors, it allows us to extend the time it takes for our warriors to go through all of their gifts. I think today it's at about 2 hours. We send 41 items.
How can people watching help you and the WarPaint Project's mission? I mean, you have so many things you have to get out and resources you need, and little things help. So how can people watching help you and the WarPaint Project's mission?
I mean, the most popular answer is donate money, right? Because money gives us access to the things that we need to purchase. It gives us the ability to be as generous as we want to, and it gives us the ability to provide for our warriors in ways that we can't today.
Welcome back to Good Deeds Buffalo. I'm your host, Jordan James. We're here with my guests, Maiya Cologne and Maiya and Michael. Now, what challenges do they face on a day-to-day basis?
So they both have unique needs. Michael has some feeding difficulties, so he has a feeding tube, as well as a lot of food allergies that we do. So a lot of his is feeding based. And Maiya actually has some mobility issues where we are learning how to rework a few things, and then just general size and stature, but...
Understood. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've reached out to my friend Jessie, who is a 200-hour certified yoga teacher focusing on restorative and gentle yoga, and she actually donated a personalized relaxation session for you, Maiya, and 4 friends. She'll focus on simple, gentle movements to create space in your body and connect with your breath while she quiets your mind. Now, I also reached out to my friends McGregor at McGregor's Landscaping, and they would like to offer you a $75 gift voucher. They truly know how hard you work to take care of the 2 children and everything you do. They want to help you relax while they do the work on your yard. Now, this one's for the kiddos. I recently teamed up with Matt's Music in North Tonawanda. It's a family-owned business serving Western New York since 1963, and they care about the community, and they would like to offer Maiya and Michael both music lessons.
Music lessons? What do you say?
Isn't that so wonderful?
You're gonna play drums, huh?
No.
Yes. Last but not least, I reached out to my friends at West Her Cares, and they love what you're doing and everything that you're trying to do for the community and Maiya and Michael. They would like to donate a $500 charity a check to a charity of your choice. So who would you choose?
There's a charity that has meant a lot to us, and who inspires me to see my unicorn and my prince
So
every day
wonderful.
that I walk by, and I think the WarPaint Project.
The WarPaint Project. So this is going to go over to the WarPaint Project, and if you want to learn more about the WarPaint Project and everything they do for the community, head over to the warpaintproject.org. Do you know someone you would like for me to highlight for their good deed on Good Deeds Buffalo? This person would be involved in the community and oftentimes are a beacon of hope and kindness. Head over to gooddeedsbuffalo.tv and fill out the quick and easy nomination form. If selected, I'll reach out to you for more information. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Maiya. You can learn more how to help Maiya Cologne and her family online at gooddeedsbuffalo.tv. Now, I want to thank my sponsors, the WarPaint Project, Yoga with Jessie, McGregor's Landscaping, West Her, and WBBZ TV. Until next time, I'm Jordan James, and this is Good Deeds Buffalo. Thanks for watching. Remember, hate is in the moment, love is forever.
Hold tight, I'll be here with you all night.